As we begin day 7, we find ourselves at the end of our first week in this 21-day prayer journey, and I hope it's blessed you greatly. But day 7 also begins the mark of a new theme. We covered lament, which moved us into confession, which now we're going into remembering God's faithfulness. And for me personally, this is something that I try to do frequently when things become overwhelming, because in the midst of things being overwhelming, it is easy for our eyes to turn inward and for us not to see God's fingerprint all over our life. So when we pause to remember his faithfulness in our life, we begin to understand that we're not in this alone. God has never left us, and he's always with us, and he's always going before us, and has always been before us. It's on us to follow. So as we begin this third theme in remembering God's faithfulness, we're going to go back to Lamentations, which again was in day 2, but Lamentations is where this whole idea of this 21-day prayer journey began. So we're going to read out of Lamentations. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. So I want to give a little context. See, in the middle of a book full of grief, Jeremiah, the author, pauses to remember God's mercies. Even with Jerusalem destroyed, he declares that God's steadfast love never ceases. This was written in the rubble of exile. See, in this book of grief and sorrow comes this bright flame of hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every single morning. Exile took everything from God's people, their land, their temple, their freedom, but it could not take God himself. The Lord is my portion, is what Jeremiah says. Not the land, not the wealth, not security, the Lord himself. When everything else is stripped away, he remains. That's why we can hope. And that's why we can come into this prayer prompt saying, Lord, you are all that I need. When everything else is gone, you remain. Help me to rest in your mercy today. I know that's where I go to frequently to remember God's hand in my life. I hope it blesses you today.